Hey guys, this is Jerry, and I'm going to talk to you today about dealing with grabbing and holding in the street and some ways that we can deal with that. And before we can even get started on anything technical, we have to take one step back and talk about what the realities of confrontations are and where grabbing and holding actually comes into play. It's very easy or very common to see sort of a static pose where I go into this position and then he has to escape, or I sneak up and I grab him here and then he has to escape. But most assaults don't run that way. And if that is our paradigm, that's our context for what is a credible threat, we're not really spending our time training in the right area. When we're looking at how real attacks happen and where grabbing and holding tends to happen, we're looking at two basic contexts. One of them is we're in an argument and things start to escalate, and then he's pushing and I'm pushing and then people grab on. The other way that happens is if I'm the assailant, there's a tendency, if I'm looking to mug him, carjack, get his keys, whatever, that I tend to be a little more deceptive. Okay, I'll try and get in contact with him to start off with, and then I grab on, or then my buddy comes and grabs on, and then we do what we have to do. So we're either going to be looking at somebody using deception to tie up, or we're going to look at somebody, an escalation of violence, male ritual, chest thumping kind of stuff. And the reason it's important to understand that is because invisible ninjas don't just suddenly appear with a hold. There's a process. We got there somehow. And if we're able to recognize it as we approach, rather than having to wait until we're in a car accident and then try and figure out what to do, we're going to try and avoid the accident however we can. So if he's the assailant, the first thing I need to do is control this space. I can't let him get up close to me. If I'm not sure about him, same thing, maybe even more so. If I'm approached, depending on the context, I'm not going to let him get in this close. This keeps me from being suddenly surprised if he goes physical. So I own this space, I control this space. If we're arguing and I feel like this is tense, I may even open it up a little bit more so he has to move into me and I can see the attack coming. But if I fail at all of these things and I allow him to get in close, there's a chance that as we're arguing and we're both heated here, that he's just going to give me a shove, boom, and I'm going to be moved back. I need to avoid letting him lay hands on me. I don't know if he's going to grab onto me. I don't know if he's going to push me. At this range, I can't even see his hands. I don't know that he's not going to stab me when he does this. So I'm going to control this space and kind of force his hand a little bit. And then, when he brings his hands into play here, I'm going to set my arm drags. From here, I can move to a position of control, or I can move him off and go to weapons, or I can just leave the situation, which is ideal. All of those will be influenced by the environment and the context, whether I'm alone or with my family. Okay guys, now we're going to look at how to execute this arm drag. The first thing I need to do, again, is I need to control this space. I need to kind of force him to put his hand somewhere. At this point, he's either going to put a hand to the outside of my hands, or he's going to bring his hand in between. There's not too much variation, but there is a slight difference. If he puts it to the outside of my hands, I'm going to use this hand right here to clear it off of my shoulder, grab behind his tricep, and I'm going to step in between his feet with my feet. This is an important piece of that. If I miss this, we're going to end up just kind of swinging past and doing a little do-si-do, and chances are we're going to be in the middle of a fight now. So as that hand comes to the outside, I circle back and I'm going to grab right behind the tricep. I step and split the legs right here, and at this point I'm going to move to establish control. So I'm moving to here. I can grab here, I can also grab around the waist, but it puts me in a position where he can't hit me. I can access tools. If he did have a weapon in his hand, he's not an immediate threat, although we will have to address it. And I've immediately established dominance on the first beat. Even if he grabs on a little bit, I can still strip this out of here. So if he's grabbing on the cloth, I can still strip this out and get my arm dragged. Now, if he decides to bring his hand down the middle, let's change his angle just a little bit. So if I've got my hands up, I'm trying to chill him out, and that hand comes in the middle, or maybe both hands he's pushing. The only difference is I'm not going to circle it all the way back to the outside to catch it. Instead, I'm just going to move this hand down towards my pocket here, and then my movement is basically the same. I'm going to step and split the leg right here, and then move to the back. Then I can send him out of the way, and I can run, or I can move up to escalating force by accessing my tools. It's really, really important that we start with that mindset. The first thing I'm going to do is try and head these grabs and holds off at the pass, so the second they try and establish grips, I'm getting out of there. I don't want to wait until I'm locked up. We will address some of those things because sometimes you try and do everything right and stuff happens. But we want to always have our mindset towards prevention and avoidance, so we keep that gap whenever we can, and this is our first step. When any hands come in towards us, we drag them and we establish control. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.